What's up, everybody? Welcome to a very special episode of the Infinity Gaming Podcast. I was tweeting about this before at Sean Murray NJ. You should definitely follow me on there. This is the first themed episode, meaning we have an actual big topic to talk about, aside from all the news and latest topics. This is going to be the viewer-voted topic of covering retro gaming, collecting games, tips on collecting retro, and emulation, ROMs, the best way to emulate, and my thoughts on it. So all that also, along with all the other regular Infinity Gaming stuff. So big jam-packed episode. This is episode 4. Thank you, guys. I hope you've been following me over on Twitch, twitch.tv/MurrayNJ. We've been streaming a lot of different games. We've been doing that Star Wars Fortnite mini battle pass. We've been doing Resident Evil. We've been doing Hogwarts Legacy. And we've been doing Wolong Fallen Dynasty. I'm loving that game. It's hard as nails, but it's great. We got lots more games coming. We've been doing the Grid on the Xbox, the Grid Legends, a racing game. Fun stuff, guys. Fun stuff. I'm going to be getting my amp radio back. It's all set up. I got like 3-4 playlists ready to go. I do live requests. And we're going to be mixing the genres up. I got metal. I got hip-hop. I got my favorite songs of all time. I got the latest tunes, the latest hits. I got a country playlist. So we're going to be doing that pretty soon. That's on my AMP radio station. I'll have links to that. Bit of house cleaning before we start. Check out my affiliate links. They do help the channel. They will help with future big giveaways, which we have 4 or 5 in the works. There will be some giveaways ending. You're more than welcome to enter them. All you got to do is comment. Just follow the instructions. It's pretty easy. HelloFresh, DoorDash, Factor_, Magic Spoon, and check out my affiliate links for the MetaQuest 2. It costs no extra to you, and get yourself $30 instantly to use in the MetaQuest store. So that'll go towards a game or, multiple games or whatever. There's also actual programs, too, for the MetaQuest, not just games. Fitness, a lot of fitness stuff. So check it out. All right, we got a big show for you today. Man, there's been a lot happening in the gaming world. Thank God for these podcasts, right? Because when I was doing multiple Murray chats and multiple gaming chit-chat shows, it was like every day. It would just be more crazier now if I wasn't covering them all individually. There's just so much. It seems like this is like the hardcore gaming season, which is usually the fall and holiday season. Because now what's happening, we're getting game after game. Think about the releases coming up. Okay, we just had The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, which we're going to get into in this episode. Okay, we just had a Dead Island 2. We had Redfall. Okay, we had, the Burning Shores DLC for Horizon. We have Final Fantasy 16 coming out. We have Street Fighter 6 coming out. We got Bramble of the Mountain King that just came out. We got Diablo 4 coming out. Oh, it's just madness, right? Madness for this time of year. It's really something. And aside from the gaming releases, there's been a lot of news, too. There's been a lot of controversy. There's been a lot of hot topics. There's a lot of stuff as far as the business side of gaming. And we're going to get to all that here as I'm checking my notes what to cover first here because there was so much. We got some viewer questions to talk about. And maybe we'll start off with one of them. Sean, what did you think of Redfall? And that is from Terrence. And I have here as one of the topics, Redfall reviews tank. Buggy mess, 30 frames per second is the least of its problems, as the title. That could be an episode in itself, guys. Yeah. So I have a topic that's going to follow that one, so I might as well do that one next, right? But yeah, I mean, big talk about that. Redfall being a disaster. Oh, it's the most horrible game. Oh my God. Just like what they said about No Man's Sky, just like what they said about Cyberpunk, and now, of course, they're praising it. Now, is that going to happen with Redfall? I don't know. You know, even with Fallout 76, Bethesda supported, and they continue to update it and continue to, you know, there was a player base. And I played with my friend Harvey about 11 hours of Redfall. And you know what? With friends and whatnot, it's a good time. It's fun. There's a lot that the game does good that it doesn't get credit for because of all the other bad stuff. And, you know, were we expecting more? Sure we were. But does Microsoft always get the most, you know, harsh critical response? Absolutely. Nobody wants Microsoft to have games. Nobody wants Microsoft to buy these companies. Nobody wants Microsoft to spend money on studios. Nobody wants Microsoft to do this. You know, it's very rarely that you give Microsoft praise. I think what was the last one that got decent praise was Hi-Fi Rush. So I had a great time with it. You know, is it worth the price? No. But then again, a lot of games aren't. But it's definitely not worth the price. I'm waiting for a price drop. I'm waiting for a lot of patches. I'm hoping that they support the game. I'm hoping that because there are a lot of people that are playing it. I know a lot of people, and I know a lot of people that are tweeting every day how much fun they're having with it. God bless them. The best to you. That's great that you like what you like. That's good. I'll be covering Redfall very soon on my own channel. And hopefully by then, it'll be a little bit patched up. But yeah, it's nothing like, you know, Game of the Year. Absolutely not, if it even makes anything. You know, and I think people were obviously expecting a lot more. And they definitely were. Which leads me to my next topic, the Phil Spencer experience I put on here. And basically, those goofs at Kind of Funny... except for a few of them guys, I'm cool with a few of those guys like Blessing, Tim Geddes. I think they're great actually. But you got that loudmouth Greg Miller that's on everything. I don't know how these goofs pulled it off, but Phil Spencer went on there, and that caused a whole big controversy, a big discussion on the internet. Like you thought the whole thing with Redfall coming out and getting bad reviews was big. No, because then Phil Spencer came out and started talking, and they wanted to nail him to the cross. This goes to show you how fast the gaming community can backstab and turn on you. It's more than the Republicans and Democrats. This is like cutthroat. Phil Spencer is the second coming of Christ. We love Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer's the best thing in the industry. Phil Spencer sucks. Get rid of Phil Spencer. Lose your job. That Dreamcast bum. What's his name? Dreamcast bum that lived in a car. Phil Spencer, you should retire. You're an idiot, Phil Spencer. Get rid of Phil Spencer. Who are you? You're not a pimple on Phil Spencer. The poop that Phil Spencer flushes down the toilet is worth more than you. Remember the Piranha Plant? If he even played Redfall, I don't even think he did. So, yeah, Phil Spencer was, you know, kind of saying, you know, kind of like not really. I guess the whole thing was he wasn't really in for the fight. Not really like giving up, but like, you know, he made a quote like, if Starfield gets 11 out of 10, you're not going to be getting rid of your PlayStations. Which, I mean, is a true thing. I mean, I own everything, so it don't matter to me none. But now it's like Starfield is like make or break Microsoft. I think they're going to be all right. I don't think people can't fathom how much Microsoft has. It's like that Dreamcast guy and that RGT85. Every time Microsoft said they were buying a company, I just don't understand how they do it. I don't understand how they do it. Well, you have a problem going out and buying a loaf of bread. Microsoft doesn't, okay? It's not a big deal to them. So, are they upset about Redfall? Yeah, sure they are. Do they have a lot of pressure now on Starfield? Sure they do. But I think, with the showcase that's coming up, and then they have like a Starfield Direct that's just dedicated to that, I'm sure they're going to do fine. I'm sure they're going to, really intrigue people. They got to really push that presentation. I'm sure Phil Spencer's going to be talking throughout the year more and more about Starfield. And, could he have worded things differently with those kind of goofs, kind of funny goofs? I think so. But at the same time, I kind of understood what he was saying. But people kind of feel like he let them down. But if you really understood what he said from a business aspect, he was just being honest of what he felt. And, they are really a company that's focused more about multi-platform than just Xbox. I mean, their whole thing is this Game Pass, which I have a question. It was from Tammy Gamer Girl, which is a longtime sub. And she said, Sean, what do you think about Game Pass, okay, destroying the gaming industry just for the fact that if you look at the way games went downhill as far as day one patches, being broken on day one, not being playable, being a letdown, all happened after Game Pass. She said because people use the term "good enough for Game Pass" or "it's free, so I'll buy it on I'll play it on Game Pass." And it made me think. It made me think a little bit of what she said. And that kind of really did make me start thinking. Now, I don't think that's the case. I think it's a wonderful service. It's a wonderful service for the customer. It's complete bang for your buck, without a doubt. But, is it coincidence? Possibly. But, you go back to the beginning, because I was gaming since I was a child. You go back to the beginning. That's nothing new. That's nothing new with broken games. There were PC games that I played back in the day that were broken. There were games on past consoles before Game Pass was even a thought that got released broken before they could even patch them. And they had to re-release them. I remember games on the PC that would get ported or released broken, and what they would do is they knew they were broken before they released the game, and they would make the previous levels or whatever so hard that you couldn't beat them to even get to the broken level. So, I don't know if it's because of Game Pass. Is it possible that it makes developers lazy? Yes, it does. But even with Game Pass, whether the game is good or bad, those developers want those sales. They want people that don't have Game Pass or on other platforms to buy their game. So, yeah, I mean, all in all, should Redfall have been delayed? Absolutely. Another thing that really ticks me off out of all this is you'll get a YouTuber, a big YouTuber, like an influencer that knows nothing. I'll listen to their tweets. And what they do is they complain about Redfall and other games that aren't delayed. Then what they'll do is sometimes right after that tweet, they'll complain that a game is delayed. And how long do I have to wait for this game? And, maybe it's going to come out in 2026. You're an asshole, okay? You're an asshole. You're an idiot. You just contradicted what you said. So which one is it? Do you want the games to be delayed and come out right? Or are you yelling at the developer for delaying the game and when is it coming out? You don't think Redfall felt that pressure already? So think about what you're saying. Most of this stuff is because of you. Not one particular person, but the majority of the people that are yelling at developers for delaying their game over and over again. Now, does that necessarily mean that when it does come out, it's going to be perfect? Absolutely not. But it's going to up the chances that the game's going to come out better, right? More time to patch, more time to fix problems, to quality test it. So you can't complain about both. That's a no-no. You make yourself look like an idiot, and so many of these big successful YouTubers do it, and I just can't believe it. How many of them do it? It's actually quite funny. And on to Starfield. There's been some Starfield news. Yeah, Starfield news has leaked. They showed some tidbits of what's coming out for the system. Starfield rating confirmed an in-game purchase. And then, this is according to Games Radar, doesn't necessarily mean microtransactions. So people were complaining and making rant videos. Oh my God, it's got microtransactions. Shut the hell up. You don't even know what you're talking about. So they're saying here that the tag of in-game purchases has been used by the ESRB, which is the rating system, to describe DLC expansions for games in the past. So it could be that Starfield is actually set to receive post-launch content instead of having a more conventional in-game store. And then it says expansions dating all the way back to Fallout 3, The Elder Scrolls 4, Oblivion. Wouldn't be surprised if Starfield also grows after launch, but Bethesda also has a history of DLC, to be fair, with its most notorious being Oblivion's iconic horse armor. There's also a third possibility for this tag. Bethesda's Creation Club, the developer offers in Skyrim and Fallout 4 as a way of rolling out. Remember they had it for mods and stuff, right? The answer to mean that the new Bethesda games will absolutely have microtransactions. Either way, it launches on September 6th or sometime after release. For the DLC, whatever it may be. So there you go. So we'll have to find out. You know, it's probably cosmetics, like they said, for mods, for armor, whatever it is, we'll find out, and it'll be interesting to see where that goes. PlayStation Plus catalog for May. So let's look. It's a great lineup. I was talking about this on Twitter. Again, if you follow me on there. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. What an amazing game. Humanity. That was that game they showed off for PSVR 2, remember? Watch Dogs Legion. Another great game. Dishonored 2. Another amazing game. Dishonored Death of the Outsider. Another amazing game. Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. That's on the PS4. Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. Amazing. Rise of the Tomb Raider, the 20-year celebration on the PS4. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, amazing. Bus Simulator 21, Next Stop, that's on both systems. The Evil Within 2. Wolfenstein Youngblood. Thysmesia on the PS5. Rain World on the PS4. Lake, great indie game. That one goes out to you, Sarah. PS4 and PS5. Conan Exiles on the PS4. Rune Factory 4 Special on the PS4. Story of Seasons. Friends of Mineral Town on the PS4. Soundfall on the PS4 and 5. Oh, for Japanese and Asian regions. Siphon Filter. Blade Dancer. Pursuit Force Ghostbusters, the video game remastered. Wow. That's a lineup, huh, guys? That's really something, man. Trying to compete with Game Pass. Of course, the trolls were enforced with that. That's like the new console war between PlayStation and Plus and Game Pass. But that's a great addition to the service. Great addition. Yep. All right. Awesome stuff. All right. The rumored PlayStation showcase is coming up, rumored to be within the next few weeks. And they got some people here saying, what is rumored to be shown? Possibly a PlayStation 5 Pro? I'd also like to get your comments on what you think will be shown. Your predictions. You know what? Maybe we'll have on Merry Chat, we'll have a prediction show. Stellar Blade. Silent Hill 2 remake, right? We haven't heard about that in a while. I'm hyped for that. That was one of my anticipated. Death Stranding 2. New game from the developer of Astro's Playroom. Maybe a VR game. Baldur's Gate 3. I've been playing that. I bought the early access on Steam. I've been playing that. Ghost of Tsushima 2. Castlevania. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake. Yeah, there you go. Mortal Kombat 12. We're going to get to that next. Marvel's Wolverine. Oh, definitely. We're waiting for that. Marvel Spider-Man 2. And Final Fantasy 16 launch trailer. I got that pre-ordered. All right, so that's what was predicted, right? So, pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, so Mortal Kombat trailer teaser. There was 2, right? There was the one with like the crystal coming down, the salt, whatever. Now, everybody thinks Mortal Kombat 12, right? Then there was a couple things. Because I follow this really close. I've been waiting for this forever. I get all the fighting games. I follow all the fighting games. Blood fighting games. As Michelle would say, it's a blood fighting game. So Mortal Kombat 12 is the rumored one. There's definitely something coming out officially now. Because there's trailers and teasers. Now, the latest teaser that just came out was a clock that was going. And it goes past 12. No, wait, it stops at 11, right? Then it goes past 12 and stops at 1. Whoa. So listen, as I predicted, and I've been saying this, I believe they're going to reboot Mortal Kombat 1. Now think about this. They already had Mortal Kombat 12. Their big project is probably Injustice 3. And Mortal Kombat 1 is like a holdover till Injustice 3 comes out. So they're not going to do Mortal Kombat 12 right after 11. And then Injustice 3. Put Mortal Kombat 1 out because they know fans have been requesting it. Remember they had that fan-made Mortal Kombat 1 that was real big and it was unbelievable? And I think they even said, man, we'd like to do something like this eventually. And I actually have what they call Mugen. I have that Mugen of that ROM. So it's very possible. What exactly is it going to be? Is it going to be a straight remake of 1? Is it going to be a reimagining, a reboot? It's something. I can't wait to see what it is. But I think that's what's happening. And another thing is, Ed Boon had put out a tweet, something like, well, we didn't necessarily say it's Mortal Kombat that we're working on. or that we never confirmed it, but he said it with a K. You know, he does those little innuendos, but he trolls too, Ed Boon. I don't know. You know, it's hard to say with him, that crazy bastard. I talked to him throughout the years many times, and, you know, he never gives me the straight answer. But I would say a Mortal Kombat 1 remake, or reboot, whatever they want to call it when fighting games, blood fighting games. And then we get Injustice 3, as long as it's got Blue Beetle. Okay? And then we get MK12. And I hope it's got Melina. You know, I mean, that's all I got to say about that. I'm just going to talk real quick about the Rogue Ally. I did order 2. I ordered 1 to review on the channel, and I did order 1 for a big channel giveaway. Anybody that's actually watching this, now you know one of the big upcoming giveaways. One of the only channels right now that's doing it. All right. I read an article, Switch heading to Wii U fate. Some idiot wrote it. Some no-name idiot. Are you freaking kidding? Sure, because people are saying that Twilight, that Tears of the Kingdom is the swan song, and people are getting ready. Even though they said no hardware this year, they're getting ready for at least the announcement or the release of the next system. It's well overdue. People know this. They want to get more of those OLEDs sold. Of course, a system is going to be selling less than when it first came out, you dumbass. Hope they didn't give that guy a job. Hope he's back in the street. Bum that he is. Switch is one of the most highest selling freaking... I mean, as much as I love the Wii U and the great games that came out on the Wii U, it's obvious they got ported to the Switch, and then they were loved. But that's another story. But comparing it to Wii U sales? Come on, bruh. The freaking Switch you're talking about. The guy must have been scratching his ass and must have said, man, I'm not producing any articles. I got to do something. And he pulled that right out of his sphincter. Good job, dummy. All right. So, the Super Mario Bros. Movie is coming to Peacock around August. So that'll be pretty cool to watch that on the streaming services if you can't get out to the theater to see the old Italian plumber. I want them to make an origin story about Rosalina. I'll be front row and center. You understand what I'm saying? And our last topic is Zelda review scores. First impression, Sean. That was written in by Kevin. Yeah, well, masterpiece. I mean, how do you follow up a masterpiece with another masterpiece? Perfect example, Tears of the Kingdom. Did you expect anything less? I think some people were getting cold feet. Not me. I believed in Doug Bowser. A masterpiece in every way. If you know it's crazy as this sounds. Who would have knew right before playing Tears of the Kingdom that you wouldn't look at Breath of the Wild the same way? Meaning, you would think of the game less. That is a tremendous, tremendous feat. Imagine having to live up to a masterpiece. It's like making a music album and trying to outdo your masterpiece debut. That's tough. There's not many bands that can do it. And same goes with games. Everything from the building, your own creations and vehicles and fusing together your own weapons and the massive world, and being able to go up into the clouds and being able to go down below the earth and explore these giant chasms, and the unbelievable graphics, and you know uh the combat system and everything, and you know the main missions and everything, and just everything that you're able to do. Whoa. And you know, living again up to Breath of the Wild, but changing it and trying to make it different so you don't think it's like in a DLC or, you know, just a copy and paste of what we did right. No, what we did right, and let's bring it up to the next level. Wow, Nintendo. That's why, like, I did the Zelda tier list maker, and look how many of those were, you know, masterpieces and great and good. There was no fails. That's a franchise. That's an epic franchise. And it's only going to get better from here on in. And now that they got Tears of the Kingdom out, where's my Wind Waker HD packaged with Twilight Princess? Now it brings me to the segment of the show you've all been waiting for. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, folks of all ages, pets too, especially goldfish. Retro gaming. Whoa. Retro gaming and collecting tips. I get asked to do a video on this. You know, retro gaming is fun. Retro gaming and collecting is a passion that I think grows with you through the years. Every so often I read that one of these big idiot YouTubers sell their collection. You know, but for the most part, that's always a passion that stays with you. You don't always have to go crazy. You don't always have to have the rarest and most expensive stuff. Sometimes going and finding a deal for $1. You know, that's what I always tell people. You know, anybody could be a collector of any price budget. You don't have to buy sealed, boxed, copy, complete, with manual, graded. You don't have to. You can, but you don't have to. You could buy loose carts. Shop at places like thrift stores, flea markets. Sometimes people don't even know what they have or don't even care. Estate sales. And if you do go to a game shop, you know, there's a couple around here in Jersey and in New York. I know out in Seattle and out west, there's tons of them. In Florida, there's a lot of pawn shops. You know, make deals with them. Try to work with them. Don't ever pay top dollar. You don't have to always get the most expensivest game. And what I always do is when people go left, I go right. Meaning, if there's something that's very popular and everybody's on to collecting it, like say, you know, everybody's collecting this Pokemon item or the Zelda item, I go completely the opposite and get what's not popular. Because A, it'll be cheaper, it'll be easier to find, and eventually they're going to play follow the leader and want that item as well, and you already got it. And then you could go back to that hot item that won't be hot no more because prices go up and down. Now, I'm not even going to get into WADA or grading because that's a whole other topic. We're talking, that's called the big leagues, and that is dropping immensely, okay? You know, guys like Pat and Ian cover that and talk about that. How people on eBay sold something for $200,000 and then the next year it went down to like $50,000. That's ridiculous. But I'm talking about regular games, regular systems, maybe a few thousand here and there. You know, you get something box copied. You get like a rare box copied Game Boy game or Super NES game, or then you get into the Neo Geo, and then you're starting to talk about big bucks. But you don't always have to go for the most expensive. You know, if you shop for decent gaming consoles that aren't too expensive to collect for. Heck, the NES is great to collect for. You can find so many loose carts cheap. Even some of the boxed copies aren't too bad. Super NES is getting up there, but it goes up and down. You can get some great loose carts. The Genesis is great to collect for. The PlayStation 1 is really fun to collect for. I like to collect for the GameCube. The GameCube is getting up there. There's some rarities there. I have a huge GameCube collection in the Mary N. J. Away Gaming Museum. You know, so start off with something that's a little bit easier to collect for than say, collecting for, I don't know, the Neo Geo. The Atari systems are cool to collect for. I have an old ColecoVision. Atari 2600 carts. They're always all over the place. Pretty cheap. PC boxed games are a little bit more expensive, but they are really awesome to collect for. They have beautiful artwork. The PC boxed games are really cool. They're really big. They went all out. Like the Monkey Island and Myst and Doom and Phantasmagoria and all that. And then you can get into a lot of the handhelds, like the Game Boy. Game Boy's great to collect for. Kirby's Dream Land. Tetris. It never really ends. eBay is great. eBay is great because you could really compare a lot of other sellers' prices. You could whittle them down. You could do ones that just say best offer. If you go to an actual gaming store, you could ask them if it's been tested, if it's legit, if it's not like a bootleg. There's actual kits that they sell that you can actually find out if the cart is real. That's like getting real involved. So yeah, you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to go crazy. I tell people the same thing with Pokemon cards. I had videos like this with just Pokemon cards, which we may get into eventually. But, just start off slow, I would say. And if you're already a collector and you're finding you want ways to save and want more ways to find games, I definitely would, try. You could do Craigslist or Let Go, or Facebook Marketplace. You'd be surprised at how many people put up games on there in your local area. There's a lot of groups that you could post to that you're looking for something, and they'll respond to you. But eBay's great. Thrift stores, pawn shops, Five and Dimes, Shell a Ball. You can really find. I found so many PC box games. I found a working great NES. I found a great Genesis. I found a Zapper gun. I found some great Genesis boxed games. I found some loose Atari games. Dirt cheap. And on to emulating in ROMs. And my thoughts on it. And the best way to emulate. So emulating is excellent. I'm not going to get into where you find them because that's, it's technically illegal. And that opens up a can of worms. You're supposed to use them as backup if you own the cartridge. Then you make the ROM yourself. There's instructions, there's videos on there how to do that. And then you can play the ROM without actually using the physical media. And you can play it anywhere. There's so many different, emulator now devices out there. it used to be just the computer back in the day, mostly. Like a Raspberry Pi or just an emulator ROM on your computer that will play them. Super NES ROMs, Super Nintendo, Genesis, whatever system you want. And, it's really nice. It's convenient. Now they have things like the Evercade handheld. And now they have like the Miu Mini. I have them all. And one of the ones that I think is the all-time granddaddy is the Steam Deck. Currently, right now, I think I have around 2,000 ROMs for games in my collection. That's spanning from Super NES to N64 to Atari to the TurboGrafx 16 to the Sega Saturn to the Dreamcast to the Master System to the Game Boy Advanced, and it's just endless of what it can do. There's programs like EmuDeck. There's a program called Emulation Station, Steam ROM Manager. You could go right down to the artwork that shows up in your Steam library, to the keywords, to a little video that plays, to each system categorized in a folder. Crazy. So there's many ways to emulate. You have the mini systems. You have like the official Super NES mini system. You have the Sega Genesis now, the Sega 2 that just came out recently. I have one for the Commodore. I have the Atari Flashbacks. So there's great ways to emulate. My thoughts on emulation: I see no problem with it. Like I said, if you own the games, or if you want to try one to see if you want to buy it and own a physical game, it's a great way to test a game and a great way to take a game with you on the go instead of the actual, taking the NES with me. You're just taking the ROM off of a portable device. You could find dedicated handheld retro devices on Amazon, or you could get something like the Steam Deck, or you can get something like the Evercade. So I'm all for it, and the choices are endless as far as what you have available. So it's great. I think it's great. Retro gaming is awesome. I love going back to my roots when I grew up, or early days on an old Tandy PC, an DX motherboard with Turbo Boost, with Sound Blaster and Voodoo card. I remember when the CD-ROM first came out and I got Myst. And I remember when Phantasmagoria came out on 7 discs. Leisure Suit Larry. And yeah, it was awesome back in the day. I had the Voodoo card. I had the MMX chip. Really cool stuff. I had Dr. Spatzo from Sound Blaster. I Am the Creative One. I had Talk and Parrot. I had Compton's Interactive Encyclopedia. I had Encarta. Man. I had Lotus 123. So I loved gaming, and I love the games even more now. Sometimes I bust out the Super NES Mini. Sometimes I bust out the Steam Deck and I plug it into the television or my computer monitor, and I hook up the controller and I play, retro games. That's where it's at, son. Some old Intellivision, that Tommy Tallarico era. Atari, I got the Atari 50th collection on the Switch. It never ends. Play some Sonic. Play some Mario. Play some Donkey Kong Country. The originals on the Super NES. Hell yeah, son. Super NES Mario Kart. Come on. Yeah, man. Retro gaming is where it's at. It's what Murray and JOA Gaming Studio started as. And, every time I'm out game hunting, I always, I'm always saying to myself, I'm going to go and, get the latest stuff, which I do. But then you always go to a game shop and you see the retro stuff. And you're like, nah, I got to look through the Game Boy. Now it's like retro. It's like, oh, I got to look through the Vita, I got to look through the 3DS. I got to look through the PSP. So everything becomes retro after a while. Past gen, right? PS2, PS3. And it's just never ending. It's just never ending. It's collecting. Now I do admit a lot of it is digital, but I'm still a physical guy. But I do admit I do a lot of digital now too, because the Steam Deck and the Evercade. Oh, well, not the Evercade, but the Switch eShop. Evercade, for the most part, is physical. I mean, it's got the Capcom collection built in, the EXP and all that, but you know what I mean. That's another thing, too. It's cool to collect for is the Evercade. They got the old manuals and whatnot, the clamshell. I'll have to have an Evercade special on here. Maybe invite the guys from Blaze Entertainment over. I'm good friends with some of those guys. So, I think that's it, guys. I covered everything, and I think I'm going to call it a wrap. Rest my voice, and maybe enjoy the outdoors today with my little scotch. Take care, guys. Until the next Infinity Gaming podcast, I'll be seeing you. Be well, be safe, and hope you have a great upcoming week.